Dilly Lee and her mother are cooking. It appears that Dilly Lee is living with her family in a lush jungle, but it is revealed that they are actually in a park in Paris and are being observed by a group of white people. A white man named Oral climbs up a tree to talk to Dilly Lee closely. He is intrigued by her intelligence and fluency in French and English, so they agree to meet when she finishes cooking to get to know each other better. Oral is waiting for her with a bag of fries when she comes out in a beautiful yellow and white dress, despite what she was wearing in the park. Dilly Lee and Oral sit down, and Oral gives Dilly Lee some fries. Oral wonders in astonishment how Dilly Lee learned his language, to which Dilly Lee explains that she learned English from her teacher, Mrs. Michel. She snuck onto a ship to come to Paris, and the crew discovered her existence late. That's when the wife of an ambassador, the Countess, stood up for Dilly Lee, and Dilly Lee ended up traveling with her in luxury. In addition to teaching Dilly Lee the manners and language of her tribe, the Countess taught her how to read and write. Dilly Lee eats some fries before starting to play with her jump rope. Oral shows his admiration for Dilly Lee because she was able to sneak onto the boat. Dilly Lee demonstrates her passion to see the world, and mentions how she left her home country because of the rejection she faced due to having fair skin compared to the people of her country. One of Dilly Lee's parents was French and the other was Kanak, and she discovered that in France, people saw her as too dark-skinned. Oral interrupts her and denies that he sees her that way. Dilly Lee states that the good side of it is knowing the fools from others. She then mentions her village, and when Oral asks if she is planning on returning, she states that she is not ready to return and wants to explore the city and its people. Oral offers to show Dilly Lee around the city on his delivery tricycle since he works as a courier and knows the city well. Their conversation is cut short by the announcement of a newspaper seller revealing yet another girl's abduction by the mail masters. Dilly Lee wonders why little girls are being abducted, and Oral doesn't know the reason. He advises Dilly Lee not to go out alone, but at any rate, she would be safe in his tricycle, and he promises to keep her safe. Dilly Lee eagerly accepts Oral's offer, and they agree to investigate the mail masters and rescue the abducted girls. Meanwhile, a man with a nose ring on a bike notices Dilly Lee and listens to her conversation with Oral. He looks at her in a sinister way. Meanwhile, a luxurious vehicle comes to pick Dilly Lee up. She gets into the vehicle, gives Oral the address, and bids farewell to her new friend, agreeing to meet the next day to start their tour. She moves, and the man with the nose ring follows her. The next day, Oral drives to Dilly Lee's house to start their Parisian adventure. As they ride through the streets of Paris in Oral's tricycle, they hear news of another jewelry store robbery by the mail masters, who left notes saying they are straightening up Paris. Dilly Lee is excited to learn that her English teacher, Mrs. Michel, is in Paris and will be giving a public talk about women's rights in 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the man on the bike continues to follow Dilly Lee with a sinister smile on his face. While Oral leaves to deliver lemonade to a restaurant, the man who had been following Dilly Lee approaches her and pretends to admire her rope jumping skills. He asks for her opinion on buying a rope jump for his goddaughter and promises to buy her any toy she wants in exchange. He tries to lead her away to a toy booth, but Oral arrives just in time and takes Dilly Lee to the booth himself. They get there, and discover that the man disappeared, and they realize that the man in the toy booth has the same nose ring as the man on the bike. Oral understands that the man was not planning to buy any toys but was attempting to abduct Dilly Lee. Oral blames himself for leaving her alone. Later, they pick up a little girl named Eve and drive her home. When they arrive, Eve's mother, Marie Curie, a Nobel Prize winner, invites them in. Dilly Lee asks Mrs. Curie if she has any information about the mail masters, but she has none. However, a newspaper seller passing by announces the abduction of another girl in front of the Bateau Lavoir. Marie asks Oral to investigate the girl's abduction, so Dilly Lee and Oral head to the Bateau Lavoir, where they meet Picasso, the only witness to the abduction, who lead them to the old Devil's Mill. The abandoned Devil's Mill has become an entrance to the mailmaster's domain. They pass through the poor neighborhood to reach the Devil's Mill, which Oral noticed had been recently fixed. Oral orders Dilly Lee to stay in the tricycle, but she refuses to be left alone. As Dilly Lee and Oral make their way through the heavy portal, Dilly Lee is suddenly chased by a dog. Oral manages to draw the dog's attention away from Dilly Lee, but unfortunately, the dog bites him in the process. Although Oral kicks the dog in self-defense, it turns out the dog was rabid, and Oral is now infected. Dilly Lee desperately tries to get help, but everyone runs away once they find out about rabies. Not one to give up easily, Dilly Lee puts Oral in his tricycle and speeds down the hill, with Oral navigating the way. As they go faster, Oral warns people about his condition, causing them to move aside as they race down the stairs. However, as they get closer to the health institution, Dilly Lee realizes that the brakes on the tricycle are broken. She smashes the door with the tricycle to get inside, but thankfully, she is able to save Oral's life. Dilly Lee decides to ask the doctor if they have any information about the male masters. Unfortunately, they don't have any useful leads. However, the doctor does ask Oral to deliver vaccines to a nearby village. Oral accepts the task, but since he can't paddle, he enlists the help of Emmy Cav, one of the greatest opera singers in the world. To find Emmy, Dilly Lee and Oral head to the opera. However, they first encounter Emmy's mean driver, Mr. LaBeouf, who doesn't seem interested in helping them. Dilly Lee and Oral manage to find their way to the waterway under the opera, where they finally meet Emmy. With her help, they are able to deliver the vaccines using her swan. Oral delivers the vaccines and notices a submarine with men wearing nose rings. Eventually, Oral and Dilly Lee decide to go to the Moulin Rouge in search of more clues and suspects. As they wish, they find a suspect in the show, and Dilly Lee sneaks under his table to listen to his talk. That leads them to an Irish-American bar, where the suspect meets another man with a nose ring. The bartender helps Dilly Lee hide under their table to listen to their conversation. They find out that the male masters are planning to steal jewels. The jewelry store's best gemstones will be taken out of the safe because of Sarah Bernhardt's visit to them. They head to the police and tell them everything they found, but the police do not take action. Oral and Dilly Lee go on their own to stop the thieves. They first contact Sarah Bernhardt to warn her, though Sarah insists on going to the jewelry store. Oral and Dilly Lee sneak and observe the jewelry store, waiting for the thieves. The thieves come in a vehicle attached to a horse. Oral unleashes the horse off the vehicle, while Dilly Lee distracts the vehicle driver. The thief leaves the jewelry store, and Dilly Lee throws her jump rope, which ties his feet, causing him to fall. The bag he was carrying falls, showing all the jewelry he stole, and immediately the police catch him. And that was their first success. After that incident, Dilly Lee became very famous in the city, but as she became famous, she became a target for the male masters. The male masters take the opportunity and kidnap Dilly Lee with the help of LaBeouf, Emmy's driver, who was supposed to protect Dilly Lee, but instead turn her over to the male masters. LaBeouf meets the male master leader, who reveals that he is a wealthy and powerful man who believes that women are inferior to men and should be controlled, and he tries to prevent women from gaining more rights in society. They call women for legs, as they insult them, enslave them, and order them to walk on all fours. In addition to using them as chairs. LaBeouf feels guilty and returns to Oral and Emmy to tell them what he saw. Oral decides to look for the male master's secret base in the waterway. He follows the clues and finally finds Dilly Lee. Dilly Lee is being humiliated and insulted in her prison, and she and the other abducted girls are being taught to walk on all fours by a woman who follows the male masters. Oral, Emma, and LaBeouf help Dilly Lee escape from the male masters. Emma helps Dilly Lee shower, and then they all meet to think about how they can help the abducted girls. They get the idea of escaping through the factory, which has an opening to the sky. They head to Mr. Santos Dumont to seek his help by building a large airship. Mr. Santos Dumont agrees to help them as they need to build a huge airship and a large amount of fabric is required. They go to Mr. Eiffel, at the top of the Eiffel Tower, to ask for his help in building the airship. Dilly Lee is astonished by the Eiffel Tower and the city of Paris. Emmy and Mr. Eiffel make a call to provide the necessary fabric. Emmy, Dilly Lee, and Oral figure out that the male masters who were previously captured with Dilly Lee's help have escaped from prison. Emmy is surprised by how they managed to escape. Oral had already figured it out earlier, due to his flat being near the police commissioner's house. Oral invites them to his flat to show them something that nobody else can see. Emmy is surprised by Oral's small flat. When Oral takes them to the roof where they can see the police commissioner's house, they are surprised to see the police commissioner and his guests sitting on 4 legs and being served by a 4 legs too. The authorities won't be of any help, so Dilly Lee suggests teaming up with Sarah Bernhardt, Louise Michel, and Madame Curie. Dilly Lee convinces all 3 women to team up, and they start working on a plan while Dilly Lee plays with Justina, Sarah's cheetah. Eventually, they plan to get the army involved with the help of the lieutenant colonel, but they face one obstacle: the lieutenant cannot embark on the operation without receiving orders. Dilly Lee mentions the President of the Republic as the one who can give orders. Sarah is given the task of contacting the President as he cannot turn her down. Once everything is done, they are ready to free the girls and turn in the male masters. After 2 weeks, everything is ready. But when Dilly Lee enters the room, Emmy declines Dilly Lee's outfit, and she asks her fashion designer, Paul Poiret, to dress Dilly Lee. He wraps yellow ribbons around her waist and wrists, turning her into a princess. Then they all head to the roof to meet Santos Dumont and the great airship they built. They take off in the airship, with Santos Dumont controlling it and driving them to a chimney hole located in the girls' room. They descend the ladder. Oral, LaBeouf, and Dilly Lee go down the ladder. Once they are in the room where the girls are kept, Oral and LaBeouf tie up the woman who helps the male masters. Dilly Lee wakes up the girls, and when they wake up, they walk in pairs. Dilly Lee tells them to walk in pairs from now on. All the girls follow Dilly Lee, climb the ladders, and seat themselves in the airship. Meanwhile, the male masters hear the noise and break into the room. Oral blocks their way by starting a fire. In a hurry, they leave the girls attached to Oral and Lebeuf, who begin climbing the ladder in advance. Santos Dumont raises the airship up, and they finally save all the girls. They fly past the Eiffel Tower, showing the diners the achievement they accomplished, while Emma Cav sings with her angelic voice. The airship slowly lands by the Eiffel Tower, where the girls' parents have been waiting. The parents welcome their children warmly and eagerly. They are filled with joy and gladness. Dilly Lee sits in the airship while the girls tell their parents what Dilly Lee has done for them. The girls start thanking Dilly Lee. Oral, Emmy, and Lebeuf approach Dilly Lee and hug her as a sign that she is not alone. Eventually, the lieutenant colonel captures all the male masters, and all the women are freed and live happily ever after.